I'm here with two-term governor of New Mexico and a successful businessman and Ironman triathlon competitor, Governor Gary Johnson. Governor, thanks for coming in with us.
Great to be with you.
Now, let's get right to it. You were famously left off of the majority of the Republican debates. Now, why do you think that was?
Well, it was CNN that cast all of it in stone. They excluded me from the second debate, and they did that because they said that I wasn't at 1% in A, B, and C polls. I wasn't in A, B, and C polls. So how do you get into the debates if you're not in the polls? And then about 10 months ago, CNN included me in their first biweekly poll. And by the way, they included me in their first and last biweekly poll. In that biweekly poll, I was tied with Kane at 2%. I was ahead of Huntsman and Santorum, who were at 1%. After that poll, they dropped my name. My name never did reappear. They offered no explanation for that. CNBC, during their first debate, they issued two criteria for the debate. Be registered to run for president, be at 4% in any national poll. I was 4% in Gallup. And I was registered to run for president of the United States. They would not return my calls, our calls, as to why I did not have a seat at the table. Well, this is exclusion in a way that goes completely unnoticed by everybody. I asked the Republican National Party to stand up for that and just ask that I be treated fairly. They were being dictated to, and they just let themselves be dictated to.
Now, do you think you're running on the Libertarian ticket now? Do you think that the networks are going to let you in to these debates with the two presumptive candidates?
Well, this is an issue now before the Presidential Debate Commission, which are made up of Republicans and Democrats. So, yeah, this is going to be a real uphill battle. And to be in these debates, I need to be at 15% in the polls. Right now, 3 of the 18 polling organizations are including my name. I just got a report right now that I'm at 6% in Colorado. Well, imagine if in Reno they were to report tomorrow that I was at 6%. The effect of that would be, who the hell is Gary Johnson? And the effect of that would be a lot of people checking it out. And if people check it out, I actually go up from 6%. This is the real deal. This is the case I'm making anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those who might not know, help me out a little bit and just be broad here. Tell me the differences between the Libertarian Party and the two major parties.
So speaking with a broad brushstroke,
yes.
I think the majority of Americans are fiscally responsible and socially accepting. So I think, speaking with a broad brushstroke, I think people really care about civil liberties. I think people really care about the wars and our military interventions and stop. And I think the majority of people really care about a balanced budget, understanding that there are ramifications to continuing to borrow and spend way beyond our means. And I think people recognize that this is a gamed system, that there is crony capitalism, that it's not fair. And so I think libertarians combine the best of all this, and by that I mean libertarians really care about non-military intervention, really care about civil liberties, really care about balancing the federal checkbook, and really care about making taxes a level playing field.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nevada's been really hit hard by the collapse of the housing market. Is there any role of the federal government to help Nevada homeowners out? What's your thought on that?
No, but back to what the federal government can do. Tax policy that doesn't favor those that are connected. So when you look at the collapse, when you look at the federal government bailing out banks, those banks should have failed for their bad decision making. And we as taxpayers, we pick up that bill. Look, the Federal Reserve is a gamed system. We as taxpayers are loaning banks money at 0%. We're not getting any of that money loaned back to us. That money is being used by the banks to buy up treasuries and get a 0.25% spread on all that. Who profits? Banks. Who pays for it? You and I.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to military real quick. The way the military is set up right now, it seems like it's 18th century. Big wars, big guns, big ships, big everything. And that's not really the way they're going to be fighting wars in the future. Is there a way to slim down the military, slim down our military presence, but taking it into the 21st century, taking it into the future?
Well, I am promising to submit a balanced budget to Congress in the year 2013. In that balanced budget will be a 43% reduction in military spending. 43% reduction in military spending takes us back to 2003 spending levels. A 43% reduction in military spending is getting out of all the military conflicts that we're involved in. It's reducing our military footprint worldwide. That would be bases, military in uniform in Europe, Korea, Japan. It would be research and development. It would be intelligence. It would be reducing our nuclear warheads from 2,300 to 500. It would be the whole notion of let's get leaner and meaner, smarter, which is dialogue that we've heard now, I think, for 16 years, but the reality has been anything but. And let me start off with a premise here. We need to provide ourselves with a strong national defense. It's an obligation that government has, and I intend to fulfill that obligation. But the operative word is defense, not offense, and not nation building, and not politicians that are beating their chest at a consequence of our young men and women coming back in body bags or coming back with their limbs blown off. Stop.
Wow. Now, when I hear other politicians, national politicians, talk about reining in the budget, reining in the debt, they talk about Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, never once do they mention cutting back on defense. And why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, it's one of those untouchables, and it shouldn't be an untouchable. I think that the biggest threat to our national security is the fact that we continue to borrow and print money to the tune of 43 cents out of every dollar. I do promise to submit a balanced budget to Congress in the year 2013. That would include a 43% reduction in Medicaid and Medicare, but it would not be a reduction in Social Security. Social Security is a program that is imminently solvable. It is a problem that is pale in comparison to Medicare, which is really the 800-pound gorilla in the closet. But we can save Social Security, raising the retirement age, changing the escalator built into Social Security from the wage index to the inflation rate. We could have a very fair means testing. How much did you pay in? How much are you getting paid out, given your level of income? Should you get more out, given what you paid in, given your amount of income? I think there could be a very fair means testing. Also have an opt-in, opt-out provision, allowing you and I to self-direct those funds. And then I am proposing throwing out, abolishing income tax, corporate tax, and the IRS, replacing it with one federal income tax. Social Security would no longer be a deduction from your payroll check. Social Security would come out of the proceeds of the fair tax.
Any thoughts? Let's get a little Nevada-centric here. What are your thoughts on the Yucca Mountain nuclear waste project?
You know, it's I got very involved in nuclear waste because Mescalero Apache in New Mexico is going to set up a monitored retrievable storage site. So I really got versed in this, and it's come to my attention that Yucca Mountain may in fact be very politically driven as opposed to scientifically driven. I don't know why we're not setting up monitored retrievable storage sites all over the country. We have approximately 170 nuclear reactors all over the country. Basically, all of the spent fuel is being stored in pools of water next to those reactors. This is a major problem that the country has. It needs to be solved. Maybe Yucca Mountain is not the answer, back to what I suggested earlier, but this is imminently solvable if we would just get after it.
Mm-hmm. Now, back in the day, Nevada led the country in the charge with legalizing quickie divorces. We were pretty famous for that. What are your thoughts on gay marriage? Because that's a big issue nowadays.
Well, I absolutely support marriage equality. I think that it is a constitutionally guaranteed right on par with civil rights of the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Two very high-profile gun crimes have happened in the last several weeks here in America. What can we do as Americans, and what would you do as president to help us curb that gun violence?
Well, for me personally, it was really a wake-up call for me personally when Aurora occurred that I should have a concealed permit myself, that perhaps if I'm in that situation that I could have personally brought that situation to an end. So I'm in the camp that believes that if we outlaw guns, outlaws are going to have guns.
And last question, I'll let you go after this. Should the United States pursue green technology through incentives and subsidies, or how would you as president pursue green technology?
Well, we should be pursuing those technologies, but we're not coming anywhere close to the goal of improving those technologies by 100% every 5 years. We're not coming close to doing that. And of late, of course, natural gas, we have gigantic natural gas supplies that I think for the short term are really going to play a huge role. And when I say short term, 30, 40 years, and maybe it goes on beyond that. I'll also offer you up a prediction that oil prices in this country are going to collapse because of the supply of oil that's coming from Bakken, North Dakota. We have a lot more supply than we can actually refine. So I think that energy should be free market based, and right now these green technologies, as important as they are, should be left to the free market, and right now they're going to have a hard time going forward because they're just not cost effective at all.
Excellent, Governor. Thanks for stopping
Thank
by.
you.
You're going to
Thank
talk
you
to
very
us
much.
again next time you come to
All
Reno.
right, I'll hold you to that.